So I think I've pretty much decided that I've had enough of dentistry. Even though
Decision made. I'm pulling everyone out of this profession.
As challenging as dentistry is, each person is different, each mouth is different. It's just so draining, but I don't really feel like I'm growing, and I don't really feel like I'm getting stimulated enough as well. I've kind of set myself the goal of finding a way out by the end of this year. I've just been waking up and I try and do my I ams every morning. So my I ams are I am courage, because I feel like you need a lot of courage to make a decision, like to leave. Especially at a time like this where you want stability. But I've been struggling with a lot of kind of like waking up and having just the first thought that will come into my head will be something really negative. Will just be like, oh, I have to go into work. Oh, I have to see this patient. Oh, I have to sort that out. And the I am courage part, all the positive things, aren't the first things that I'm waking up with, and not the first things that are like coming into my mind. So I'm finding that really quite hard to actually drag myself up and just get that positive energy.
I love that question because that is so real and it's so raw. And where you think you're the only person going through that sometimes, you know, it is so prevalent, and it was hitting me so much. We wake up in the morning and the first thing is that all of these things come into your head. What you said is your biggest I am has been I'm courage, right? When I look at courage, you know, you've heard the quote, right? That courage isn't the absence of fear, it's doing things despite of what's going on, right? In despite of fear, that you go out there and then you actually get things done. I want you to understand that this is normal, that what you're going through right now, because you're going through a big change, the mind wants to keep you where it is. And the way it does that is by holding you here, because every morning you're waking up, you're having these crazy thoughts and it's holding you where it is. Not many people wake up in the morning on level 10 energy. They've got to train themselves to be there. And you've got to have a strategy when it hits you to quickly get out of there. Because it's tough waking up every morning not knowing what's going to happen, like, because you're in a very comfortable place at the moment. You go in, you earn a decent amount of money, you come home, you're changing everything. There's all these things which are going to be brought up. The mind wants to keep you where it is because it doesn't want you to move, because now there's fear, and now what happens if it doesn't work out, and it's just going to try to keep you where it is. And a lot of people will get this fear and they're like, okay, fine, do you know what, it's like, I can't handle this, I'll just go back. But there's some people say, do you know what, my I am is going to be I am the person who acts despite the fear I feel. I'm courageous, and what courage is actually acting when fear is there. It's not to get rid of fear. That fear is going to be there. Treat it as your friend. Laugh at it every single morning. Belittle it. Show it it's not important. When you actually believe what you're saying, the mind doesn't know what's real and what's not. That's why sometimes when you watch a movie and you can cry, like, or you're scared in a scary movie, it's not that it's real, but the mind believes it's real because that's what you're watching at that point. I want you to be able to wake up every single morning and have and believe that you're the person that you want to be. Shout like that person you are, and understand that fear is normal, but courage is to be able to act despite having fear going on. Not that it's holding you back. And I want you to treat fear as if it's your friend, that when you wake up in the morning and it hits you, what if you are, you're back? Like, what if it's that kind of conversation you have? And when those thoughts come in, go, like, okay, my friend's here. And all of a sudden you start belittling it. What if every morning, the moment these thoughts hit you, you actually laughed at it? And you laughed loud and go, ha ha ha. And you laugh loud and go, it's fear again. And you laughed at all of a sudden, right? It may seem like it's trivial, but it's not. Because you're pushing it down and you're showing it's not important. When you laugh at someone, it belittles them, right? When you laugh at something, it shows it's not important. What if you could do that with your fears? What if you could embrace your fears? What if your I am became, I am the person, despite of fear, I will go out and do it. What if that became your I am? So rather than I'm courage, what if it's I'm the person to act even though I feel this way? I go out and do this. And that became your I am. And what I did is I wrote a letter to myself so that I can read in the morning. I've never shared this with anyone before, right? And I wrote a letter to myself first thing in the morning to remind me that this is normal. It happened yesterday and it's going to pass. It's just a letter to myself, from myself, to remind me that this is normal, because at that point it doesn't seem normal. It seems like it's so different from the day before. It seems like I've never gone through this in my life, even though I've gone through it every day, right? But I read that and it reminds me that, okay, fine, it'll pass. And I go out and do the things which I do, go for my run, my I ams and everything else, and then it'll pass. But in that moment, it's just me reminding myself, try that. It worked for me. When you can do that, when you understand it's okay, when you understand you're normal for what you're going through, and this is your journey and this is how it's going to be, it all changes.